O great Sakura Tree, I beg for your wisdom to show me the caves, in return offering a humble apple. I'm just gonna take this back now. Later, sucker! Ladies, gentlemen, and Hyruleans of all ages, the world of Tears of the Kingdom is full to the brim with things to do. It's hard to walk 30 steps without finding something that catches your eye and distracts you from whatever your goal was at that moment. And one of the main side activities that you will probably already have noticed are caves. These caves are absolutely everywhere. They are in the sky, they are on the ground, and if you've been in any of them, you've probably seen the strange ghostly spirit frogs inside, killed one, and been utterly confused at the item that you received. The Bubbul Gem. This crazy looking thing isn't a monster part. It isn't used for fusion, it isn't used for cooking, you can't sell it for rupees, and it's labeled as a key item. So you might be finding yourself wondering quite simply, what on earth is the Bubbul Gem for? Well, not only will I be telling you where you can use these items, I'll be telling you why you should want to collect a massive pile of them too, and then how to make doing so a fair bit easier, and also we'll talk about another awesome mechanic about the caves within the game too. First up then, why should you do caves in the first place? Well, once you complete a short side quest, you unlock an NPC named Koltin, who wants to take these Bubbul Gems, eat them, and use that to turn into a Satori, the crazy spirit horses. As a result, he will happily give you tons of items in return for your Bubbul Gems. Essentially a vendor, but rather than choosing the item that you want to get from him, you have to go in order from the things that he is offering, and he has a set path of items that he'll offer you as you trade with him. As for why you should care about this, there are three main reasons. One, he gives you monster masks. The first thing that you get from Koltin is the Bokoblin mask. It looks hilarious and silly, and for me that is more than reason enough, but if you want even more, it also has the unique effect of making you blend in with Bokoblin enemies so they won't attack you unless you provoke them, even at close range.
Friend?
On top of that, in his list of goodies is also a Moblin mask, a Lizalfos mask, a Hyrule mask, and a Lionel mask. Past that, he'll also trade you for various monster parts along the way, some actually quite decent, like a white Lionel horn, but his main trade item, the one that you'll probably care about the most and the main reason for doing caves in my opinion, is the Mystic armor set. This is a full-on armor set modeled after the Satori themselves. It looks absolutely gorgeous, and it has an awesome skill on it too, which I'll be testing as I get more of the pieces to work out exactly how effective it is, but in short, it turns damage taken into rupees lost. Rather than losing hearts when you get hit while wearing this armor, you lose rupees and you save the hearts. At level 1, this isn't the best trade-off, but with all three pieces of armor, it may well become an incredible boon, so this is definitely worth keeping an eye out for, and almost single-handedly makes it worth doing any cave that you come across in the wild, or even seeking out caves if you are so inclined. That said, as I mentioned, there is a side quest that is required to even unlock this NPC for trading in the first place. To start this off, you want to head to Pico Pond, just southeast of the Ikochiyu Shrine. On the northern tip of the pond is a cave with a familiar NPC outside of it. This is Kilton. Interact with him, and moments later, Koltin will come running out of the cave because, well, they're brothers. And who would have guessed that, based on their looks and names, right? Kilton will explain that he was after the Bubbulfrog inside and explain his whole dream of becoming a Satori and what it entails. Then you can offer to give him one Bubbul Gem right there on the spot if you already have one. Of course, if you haven't collected any up to this point, there is a cave literally 10 feet away that he just ran out of. You can go and do that real fast. It's not complex in the slightest. Once you have the Bubbul Gem, then give it to Koltin and you'll get the Moblin mask. Then the two NPCs will say that they are moving on and they'll relocate. From this point, Koltin can sort of jump around a bit, but Kilton has a set location, and when you interact with Kilton, he'll tell you where Koltin is. I know their names are a bit confusing, but stick with me here. So the next step here is to head to Terrytown on the eastern side of the map. In this town, on the northern side of it, you will find Kilton standing around. He'll tell you where Koltin is at any given time, as well as mentioning that he will only be there past 9 PM, as Koltin doesn't exist during the day. I mean, he probably does exist, he just isn't an NPC looking to trade before that time. So, in my experience, the vast majority of the time, Kilton will tell you that Koltin is on the ridge just northwest of the city, beside the Ulri Mountain Skyview Tower, but given that he can move, if you are unsure if he is there or not, or where he is, just come back and talk to Kilton again. Once you've spoken to Koltin one more time, then you'll officially unlock unlock him as a repeatably tradable NPC, and from here you can just start mass trading in Bubbul Gems for his various unlocks one at a time. To get every item that he has, you'll need around 46 Bubbul Gems, which sounds like a lot, but that's about 25% in the caves of the game at most. With that then, how can you actually seek caves out? After all, in a world this massive with cliffs, mountains, and water absolutely everywhere, it can be quite hard to spot a small hole in the rock from a distance. Well, you can actually get caves marked for you. This is a Sakura Tree, a cherry blossom tree. There are a fair number of them around the world, and essentially whenever you see one of these, you want to give it an offering. There is a little bowl in front of it, and if you drop an apple in here, a cutscene will play where a Satori pops up and says hello, before adding a wondrous beam of light above every single cave around you in a relatively large radius. The first one of these cherry blossom trees that you can find is actually right near the start of the game, right over here 5 feet away from the Yamio Shrine. These trees look the same wherever you find them, and they're quite distinct too, so you can even see them while you're skydiving down from a Skyview tower if you know what you are looking for. Doing this won't mark the caves on your map, but it will again just put a giant pillar of light above each one nearby that's just there permanently until you walk into it. As for what happens inside of the caves, somewhat like shrines, there are tons of different types of caves. Some caves are just tiny little holes in the wall that just have a Bubbulfrog in it and nothing else. Some of them are deep and sprawling, filled with enemies. Some have little puzzles to solve, but the one constant is that every cave has a Bubbulfrog. Once you've walked into a cave, it will be marked on your map. If you defeat the Bubbulfrog inside and get its gem, the symbol for the cave will have a check mark on it. If you don't, it won't have the check mark. So clearly this is the main objective of caves in Tears of the Kingdom. As for defeating a Bubbulfrog, it's really quite easy. They will die to a couple of regular arrow hits, but seemingly always die to one headshot, even from a particularly weak bow. 99% of the time they will be attached to the roof of the cave, hopping around, so just look around, take them down when you find them. Aside from this, there is also a couple more important things to mention about caves in general. Things like bomb fruits spawn all over the place in caves, as well as Hearty truffles, and that's the main ingredient to help you actually get the temporary heart food. As well as that, there are creatures that are called the like-likes. These are leechy, worm-looking dudes that are sort of terrifying on first glance. There are elemental versions of them as well that just sort of spawn in different caves, and those are even scarier. And while your first instinct may be to avoid them at all costs, they are definitely worth killing, and they aren't too hard to do either. As the fight, they tire themselves out and they'll reveal their disco ball tongue thing. If you hit the disco ball once, easiest done with an arrow, they'll become sort of stunned. Walk up after stunning them and beat the disco ball up with a strong melee weapon, and they'll die. When a like dies, they always drop a chest. The loot inside of the chest is pretty random. Sometimes it's not great, sometimes it's pretty good, but it always is a chest. An extra chest can never hurt, so definitely go out of your way to kill these whenever they are around, and they often are around within caves. And there you have it then, a guide to caves in Tears of the Kingdom, how to find them, what your objective is within them, and a whole pile of why you should go out of your way to do so. Because not only are the monster masks silly and wonderful and useful, the monster parts you can trade for are extremely useful as well, but then there is the gorgeous and powerful mystic armor set that you can only unlock from this activity as well. I hope you've enjoyed this guide, and I hope it helps you get even more enjoyment out of your journey in the wonderful game that is Tears of the Kingdom. Let us know down in the comments below what other mechanics or concepts you'd like us to talk about, as we'll be making just tons of Zelda videos in the coming days and weeks, and that tells us what you want to see first. Like if you like the video, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.